Hello and welcome guys to this course of data analytics and visualizations in Power BI. So in this course, let me introduce you first of all the agenda. What exactly will be the agenda of this course? Will make you comfortable with exactly what is data analysis, roles in data analysis in this module one, and then the tasks of a data analyst, what exactly a data analyst need to perform, and then we'll move forward into Power BI. We'll jump into Power BI, creating and modeling data, visualizing data in Power BI, publishing the report up to Power BI services, sharing and creating and sharing dashboards within your organization, and making decisions out of that report. Before we jump in to the data analytics part, we first let me give you a brief idea of what exactly is Power BI. The people who are very new, so just let me introduce what exactly is Power BI. Power BI is a software as an analysis services application that helps you, that gives you the connectors to connect to n number of sources. We can get the data from n number of sources using the connectors given by Microsoft, and then enrich the data because the data is totally scattered. So we need to profile the data. We need to enrich the data before starting analyzing using the data and creating visualizations from that data. So we'll cover up all the basics, like how to get the data first of all by connecting to the different sources, and then uh, performing different kind of transformations to make the data enrich, and then finally loading it into the visualizations, creating reports out of it, and publishing it up to the Power BI services. So in Power BI services, we'll show you how to create the dashboards and share it with your with the people in your organization. And then finally, we'll talk about Power BI mobile applications as well to track the data on the go. When you're on the go, we can track the data using the Power BI mobile applications as well. But before we jump into Power BI, definitely we need to talk about what exactly is data analysis. So in this module one, we're going to talk about that only. Okay, and what are exactly the tasks of a data analyst? Initially, a few years back, it was very simple to understand the task, but now there are multiple roles, and what exactly is a role of data analysis, data analytics is, it needs to be clear first of all, and so that's what we are going to cover in this module. So let's jump in. So if we move forward, so being a data analyst, the first of all, the important thing is it's not like we are getting the data from a transactional database only. The data comes from these days from transactional databases. The data comes from telemetry services, from online services, from social media, from everywhere. So let's take for an example, if I talk about retail business, if I talk about the retail business these days. So in retail business, we need to gather the data. The retail business has to make a decision for giving what kind of products they should advertise for a particular customer. It based on what they are looking for. So they have to track on their websites what pages we are visiting, what pages the customer is interested in. So based on their history, based on their uh, the areas in which the customer is interested, they have to take the decisions and pass the products to the customers and give the advertisements accordingly. So that all has to be tracked, okay, and stored somewhere. So a retail business, for example, they have to track the inventories. They have to track identifying the purchase habits of a customer, detecting the trends, how the trend is going on for a particular customer, recommending purchases based on the decisions from the data analysis, recommending decisions for a particular recommending purchase for a particular customer, price optimization, what exactly they need to offer, and identifying and stopping the fraud analysis, the fraud customers. So all has to be jumped in all together. Okay, so the main point, let me come to the main point. In short form, I can say the data comes from different sources and it is totally scattered. Okay, so what exactly the industry wants? The industry wants a report, so that using that report, your data can tell you a story. Okay, so that they can go through that story and make a decision what exactly needs to be performed. So the data can be from week over week, it can be from month over month, and from years. It can be a very huge data set as well. So the first requirement of a data analysis perspective is to profile the data. First thing which we need to perform is to profile the data, clean up the data, what exactly removing the unwanted columns, removing the unwanted, handling the null values, handling the duplicate values. We had to do all these tasks and then jump in for data analysis. Okay. So if we talk about data analysis, we can divide this analysis process into 5 parts. That is descriptive analytics, diagnostic, predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive. So let's talk about them in brief. What exactly are the meaning of different analysis processes? So if we talk about first the descriptive process, the descriptive analytics, it totally depends on the historical data. So it helps us answering the questions from the historical based on the historical data. Okay. So it allows the data analyst to create the KPIs, the key performance indicators, what exactly are representing the performance. Okay. So that the organization can make the decisions in the financial goal. So that is about descriptive analytics. Then comes the diagnostic analytics. The diagnostic analytics is analytics is to find the root cause, what has happened in the future, in the past. As descriptive analytics, we are checking out what has happened in the past, and using diagnostic analytics, we are finding the root causes, what has caused these events to be happened. Okay. So it allows us to identify the anomalies in the data, what exactly are the problems in our data set, collect data that related to those anomalies, removing those anomalies, and making the perfect decisions. Okay. So, and the predictive analytics, the third part we move forward is to predictive analytics that helps us to make future decisions. What exactly based on your previous analysis using the descriptive and diagnostic analytics, the root causes, what going to be happen next year, what going to be happen next month, so that what will happen in future, what might happen in future. Okay. So it involves definitely some machine learning techniques, the machine learning algorithms as well, like decision tree and regression. So in these days we have heard this word machine learning a lot. Sometimes it is very difficult for the people to distinguish between a business intelligence and a machine learning. The business intelligence allows the people to make the decisions what has happened from the history in from the historical data, okay, using the descriptive and diagnostic analytics. But the predictive analytics helps us to predict what may be happening in future, okay, what may be happening next month, what may be happening next week, okay, using the predictive analytics, machine learning algorithms. So if we move forward, the next one is prescriptive analytics. The prescriptive analytics is also data driven, which helps us to make the data driven decisions. Once again, through some machine learning techniques on a very large data set. Okay, when we have a very huge data set and we need to achieve a target, we are achieving a target. So it shows us how we are moving forward for a target to achieve a particular goal or a target in the industry. Okay, and what optimizations we need to perform for achieving the goals. So it is almost related to your predictive analytics only. And the final one is cognitive analytics. That is very new, and why it is needed is because the data is not only in the normal data format like before. The data now comes up from a lot of different social medias and all, where we have the voice feedbacks, where we have the feedbacks in the voice, where we have feedbacks in different graphs. So to analyze that voice feedback, we need to go through the cognitive analytics. So these are the 5 kind of analytics which are there in industry, which we work on, which we work on. So in summarizing it, we once again I'm repeating in short form, like descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive. Descriptive analytics is all about the analyzing the historical data and visualizing it, what happened in the past. The diagnostic analytics helps us to determine the root causes, why that happened in the past, why those events happened in the past, finding the anomalies in the data, why the problems, why which reasons are causing the problems, finding the root causes of the data. The predictive analytics using machine learning, it enables us to predict what will be happening next month, next week, next month, and next year for making up the future decisions. Prescriptive analytics is a part of predictive analytics only, but it enables you to make the decisions, what changes we should make so that our the future results or goal we can achieve on. And the cognitive analytics is a new part which is required for analyzing the data for the feedbacks, where we have the voice feedbacks, where we have the written feedbacks. So if we need to do the analysis on that text, if we need to do analysis on the text feedbacks or voice feedbacks, then we have to go for the cognitive analysis. Okay. So if we jump in more now in the roles in data set, because in the industry of in this business intelligence industry of the roles in the data analytics process, there are a lot of roles these days, and even if we see in the market in the industry, we find a lot of jobs related to these roles. But sometimes we get very confused. What exactly are the meaning of the particular role? What exactly a particular person will be doing into the company? These are the 5 main roles which are there in the industry these days: the business analyst, the data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, and the database administrator. So let's define one by one, and let's understand the difference between them. Okay. So being a business analyst, they are the people who make decisions. uh, the data analyst and business analyst, very kind of a similar role. Okay. But there is a very small differentiate between these two. Is to the business analyst people, they are very close to the business decisions. Okay. They take the look on the reports given by the data analyst people. They understand from the visualizations what exactly the decisions need to be taken. Okay. So sometimes, oftenly in companies, the role of business analyst and and the data analyst both have been given to the same people, to the same person, a single person. Can be differentiated as well. But the closer the business analyst people are to the business, they are more related to decision making. Okay. So next, if we move to the biggest role, which is data analyst, the most important role, let me explain you in a very simple way what exactly the responsibility of a data analytics person is, data analyst person is. First of all, the data analyst is very much responsible to profile the data. Whatever data we are getting from different sources, we first data analyst has to profile the data. What do I mean by this profiling of the data? That means cleaning up the data. What exactly the data consists of, what are the anomalies in your data, how to handle the anomalies, how to clean the data and transform it in such a format that we can use the data for analytics purpose. Okay. The second step is to create a model. The second responsibility of a data analyst is to create a data model. Okay. In coming up sessions, we'll go more deeply about this word of data modeling, why it is so important, and why it is needed to a data model is so important in and plays a very important role while visualizing the data to give the correct decisions. And then finally creating the reports out of that model data and creating dashboards and passing it to the stakeholders, the business analyst people. Okay. So using all this, the data analyst will be definitely in these days we have 2 main tools to work on in the industry for the reporting purpose: the Power BI and Tableau. So in this course, we will be learning Power BI for that purpose. Okay, so the data analysts, they work very close to the data engineers, which will be our next role. Data engineers. What exactly is the role of a data engineer? See, the data engineers are those people who performs the ETL process. They need to do the ETL to gather the data from multiple sources, the unstructured data, and convert that into a structured format so that the data analyst and they can make their reports very properly. So they work very closely always with the data analyst people. Okay. So the data engineers are more related to the ETL process, which is extraction, transformation, and loading of the data from different unstructured data places and gather that data into a single source. Okay. Then finally, we jump into data scientists, which is the most one of the most famous roles in the industry these days. To the role of a data scientist is more related to machine learning. Is up to making the future predictions, like what exactly are will be going to happen in coming time, in next week, next month, or next year. So accordingly, the company can make decisions. What exactly the looking at the patterns, looking what exactly are going on, where they should invest, where they should continue to invest, where they should stop investing, what actions need to be taken care. All that comes through a data scientist people. And then finally, we have the database administrator. That is totally a different role. It's related to admin process, like we handling the server, where the database engineers and the database analyst people are working on. and giving access to those people and managing those access. So keeping the servers ready is more a part of database administrator. So you can go through this part and jump in and then let us know if there are any more queries related to that. So now let's talk about more deep what exactly are the tasks of a data analyst. In this first section, we are doing all this process. From next section onwards, we'll jump into Power BI for working onto a data set, more practical way. But first, I want to make you clear what exactly are the roles and responsibilities, what is the differentiation between the roles and all that process. So the tasks of a data analyst, if we talk about that, there are 5 tasks. Once again, it is to prepare the data, model the data, visualize it, analyze it, and manage it. Let's talk about about these tasks one by one. Okay, so if we talk about preparing data, so the first thing for the data preparation, what they need to do is to profile the data. As I was telling you in the role of a data analyst, now we are jumping into more details on that role. Okay, so first, let's say we use the same example of the retail business. In the retail industry these days, we have the data which is coming from maybe from Excel sheets. The data is coming from CSV files. The data is coming from text files, maybe coming from databases, maybe coming from JSON files. They have data into different formats. The first responsibility of a data analyst is to prepare the data for the analysis process. Okay, so the profile, in this preparation, they need to profile the data. As I told, profiling means understanding the requirements of the data. Maybe possible your sheet is containing 100 of the columns which are not required for your analysis process, and it will create confusions for the people who are creating the reports. So the first part is to remove the unwanted columns, removing the unwanted data, handling the null problems, that is cleaning inside the data, converting them into the proper format, and that is transformation process. In Power BI, we'll use Power Query Editor for this purpose. We'll use Power Query Editor as a tool to do all this process, to perform all this process, to prepare the data before we start analyzing it. Okay, so you can go through this slide to understand in a more better way. Okay, then the second task, as I was telling before as well, is to model the data. Okay, so what exactly is the meaning of this modeling of data? The tables, if you are jumping into it, a little bit idea you must be having between the relationship between the tables in primary key, the primary key, foreign key, relationship between the tables, and why it is required. Okay, so creating a good data model can only allow a data analyst to get the correct numbers in the report, to visualize the correct numbers in the report. Okay, if your model will not be proper, if your model will not be it will not be in a good model, then the it will you can still produce the numbers in the reports, you can visualize the numbers in the report, but the answers will not be correct. So creating a good data model is always a very important part of a data analyst role. Okay, so in modeling process, and as in industry, we follow the star schema or snowflake schema. So you have to go one of that for model the data, so that you can get the correct results out of your data. Okay, then visualization, definitely a very important step to once your data model is ready, then you need to visualize the data with different graphs. Okay, we will understand how to use different graphs, what kind of graphs we should use at what time. Okay, even Power BI has a huge list of graphs which we can the visualizations which we can use for showcasing the numbers. Okay, and we can how to use the custom APIs to use the custom visuals in Power BI. To download the custom visuals from Power BI into Power BI desktop, we'll have a look on that and start creating the reports through the visualizations. Okay, those visualizations must be it must be a good looking report. Yes, that creates a good image for a client. It must be a very not a clumsy report where we have too many visuals that are representing the same things. It should be very clean and concise report which is giving a very clear chance to a stakeholder to make a decision. Okay, so in this visualization process, we'll understand that which kind of chart should be used at what time, how to format those charts to make that a good looking report, and how to use the custom visuals in Power BI. Then the next one is analyze. Yes, definitely. We after creating the report using the visualizations, after publishing, we need to publish the report into Power BI services, the online services where we can share it to the stakeholders. We can create the dashboards out of that report from different reports. How to use the visualizations to create a dashboard and share that dashboard to the stakeholders. Okay, and how to use the NLP process. What is the meaning of NLP here? The natural language processing, which is enabled by Power BI to make analyze the data. Okay, so the analyze means it's simply about uh, looking at the dashboards and making decisions out of that. Okay, and managing is it's a very important task. The last task. It's not only about creating a report from an existing data set, because the data set continue changes time by time. Daily there are new records are inserting in your data sets. Daily the updates are happening, some deletes are happening. So how to handle the newly inserted records, the newly updated records, how to refresh the reports continuously, how to make the automation process for refresh the reports, and plus the security asset. Security is one of the most important part of this whole data analysis process. That let me just give you an example for that. What exactly is the meaning of the security here? If we are creating a report for, let's say, a retail company, but we are creating different reports for their different visualizations for their different panels. The sales panel is interested for the sales analysis, the employee panel, the HR panel is interested for their HR, for the employee performance and all that stuff. So they, we need to make sure, as a data analyst, it's your responsibility to make sure that they are getting the correct reports, and they are not looking forward. The sales people are not getting the employee data, which is nowhere they are interested in. Okay, and the HR people, they are nowhere interested in the sales data. So why they are getting the sales data? So it's that is called as a concept of row level security in Power BI. So we'll look into that, both static and dynamic row level security, how to implement that row level security to implement security in your data. Okay, so that is called about managing. So in managing, if I repeat in short summary, to refresh the report for newly inserting daily newly inserted data plus updated data. Okay, and creating security for your Power BI dashboards. Okay, so these are the the main roles of a data analyst. Okay, so if we I'll take a pause here for 2 minutes, and I'll display some questions for you to answer those questions. I'll definitely ask you to come back to me if any problems. You can you'll find my email ID over there. So in case of any questions, definitely please come back to me. So I'm pausing. I'm moving to the next slide. I'm pausing there for a bit of time. Go through the question and answer yourself. Yeah, so I hope you must have answered those questions. And now, if we summarize this first module, what we have talked about in this first module. So let me just summarize it. As I told you, in this course, what we are going to learn, we are going to learn Power BI. So as I just given a small idea what exactly is Power BI. Power BI is a data analyzing and visualizing tool. It's an online software as a service application, which gives us a lot of connectors to connect to collect the data from n number of different sources, and enrich and model the data, profile the data, then enrich and model the data to create a data model, and then finally create reports, visualize the data, uh, publishing those reports to Power BI services, which is the second part. So for the first part, for creating reports, we'll use a software called as a Power BI Desktop. So I'll ask you to download Power BI Desktop from Microsoft official website. It's a it's a free software. You can download it in a very simple go, and then publish that data up to Power BI services. How to create your account on Power BI services, publish those reports, creating dashboards in Power BI services from different reports or from a single report, and then sharing those dashboards with the stakeholders. NLP process, how to use the natural language processing for analyzing the data from the dashboards, and finally implementing row level security, and then track the data on the go using the Power BI mobile applications. So that's what we'll do all in this course. In this section, we talked about the different roles in the industry, what are there for in this business intelligence industry, about this data analyzing and visualization role. Plus, being a data analyst, what are the responsibilities and what tasks need to be performed by a data analyst. Okay, so thank you. And if any questions, I request you to come back and ask your questions. Thank you so much.